And Brandon's mom, so we're like, hey, that's the kid from the second row, dude, how are you? You know, and good to see you. And so I'm playing with them, and so Brandon's mom, what's her name? Margaret, takes Steph aside and says, like all of a sudden she starts welling up with tears, saying that Brandon came home from school and was saying, you know, about Steph and Matt, and come to my school, and you know, we have to do this, mom, and we have to do that, and we have to stop using plastic bags, and I can't go to karate tonight. And she's like, Brandon, you have to go to karate. Like, it's karate tonight. And he's like, oh, like, no, I can't. I have to go. We have to go to Whole Foods and see Steph and Matt, and we have to save the planet. And I need my piggy bank right now because I want to help them save money. You know, and she's looking at Brandon going, yeah, okay, Brandon, karate's in 10 minutes. Get your gear on. Let's go. He starts crying, and he goes, Mom, and he starts reciting our whole video, like word for word. And this is a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old. I can't, you know, I don't know what. And so, you know, you don't say a mom's not going to take her kid seriously then at this point, because this was the truth for him. And then he started reciting like the website, and so then she's like, who are these people that have done this to my kid? So she actually came, originally she told us, she was a little upset because she's thinking, who are these two, you know, Canadians that they're upsetting her kid? So but then she realized that, oh wow, these two Canadians are pretty damn friendly, and they're, you know, they're actually pretty cool. So she told Steph this story, and you know, it was probably one of the most touching moments of the whole tour. I mean, so much so that you ended up going, because I went to the Johnson Space Center for my birthday, courtesy of Steph, and I'm a big geek in space. And then so Steph decided to go out to their house and actually interview Brandon, and his mom, or just Brandon, yeah. Which hopefully will end up being kind of a bit of a highlight on our DVD. So it was, you know, I didn't even get the story firsthand, but when you told me, I'm like, ooh.
Really touching. Wow.
Yeah,
we've had a lot of really touching moments, and I think that, you know, going back to the goals question, I think if I had actually known what the experience would be like if we got there, I'd be like, I can't do that in here, you know, because it's like, this is enough, you know, because it's been full. Like, you know, that's all right. You know, it's been full. So, no idea how on earth you go back to any kind of normalcy or something.
well, that was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah. Way back then. Yeah. But, you know, we'll keep going, and it's changed us forever. You know, I find myself now thinking about, you know, whether I use chopsticks, which I don't use anymore because I know where the wood comes from, or what kind of fish, because how is the fishery doing? And you know, where did that apple come from? And you know, how was that chicken raised? You know, and all these questions that I just didn't even think about before. You know, I just looked at the price, and it was that one-dimensional way of buying and living and thinking. And now I just feel like it's so much deeper, and I sort of appreciate a lot more of that process. So, yeah. So.
You know, and the cool thing about this is, I think that in some respects, it allows us to go back into our lives and kind of have this whole new window of something. I don't know what you call it, but maybe it's a year of experience. I don't know. But it's kind of neat to have, because I couldn't imagine what our life would be like right now if we weren't standing here after this. You know, I couldn't imagine, because like, I feel sad if we hadn't done it, because we would have missed out on all the, it's kind of a selfish feeling, to be quite honest with you, because we would have missed out on the most amazing experiences. I mean, it's like, it's hands down been the greatest journey, you know, thus far. It still is. I mean, it's just like, you know, I say it like that because, you know, we're going around, but I say that a lot, you know. But it truly has been, you know, I think Steph said it perfectly kind of early on in the tour, that it's not just, it's not a run tour, it's a tour where we run, so we connect with the pavement to be able to connect with people. And that's it, you know, because, you know, if we don't touch each other in our hearts, then it's hard to go in, and it's hard to instill a message, or it's hard to ask somebody to just do something else. And you know, when you look at the planet and what's happening, it's truly just people trying to survive. in so many ways. Some people obviously not as scrupulous as others, but at the same time, it really comes down to it's people trying to help people, and maybe in its small way, that's what we've started to do, which that's what I'm most proud of. I couldn't think of a better partner in crime to do that with. It's
So, I think the one thing that we're hoping from everybody that's here and everybody that we ever talk to is, if you feel inspired by this or interested in it even, is just to consider, regardless of how you're living, just what's that one new thing that you can do. For kids, their reaction is so different because they're like, I don't know, what's the next thing? And for adults, it's we learn and those patterns become really habitual, and we become we move in certain ways, we do certain things, and so changing our habits becomes sometimes more challenging. So we know we have these action challenge sheets at the front here, which you can sign up for if you haven't already done so already.
I know a few people who have.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
So our whole thing is just about people choosing one new action, because that one new action, I ended up doing this because I decided to stop using my dryer, and I just, from literally watching The Inconvenient Truth and then deciding that that was my next step, and then I decided to eliminate plastic bags, and then we, changed everything, and this became a conception and a possibility that was interesting. It really does start with one new thing. So,
you guys knew that, right? That the whole basis of the top 10 steps was essentially the 10 things that we ended up doing over the course of that summer after we watched The Inconvenient Truth. So yeah, it was wild, man. You didn't even know it. Like the idea for the tour aspect hadn't even dropped yet until
Well, then we should give credit to Diane for her edits.
That's what I do.
You look at the top 10 steps. It was great.
our first ones were so boring.
You were like, you should really think about this.
Use low-flow water devices.
Kids would have been like, yeah.
It was boring. I just saw her shirt. Is my shirt on? Has this got the old stuff on it?
It does.
read the.
That's all right. Kids wouldn't have not.
Kids wouldn't have gotten it, so
when
even
they
that,
resonate with
right?
you.
It's kind of neat. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Was remember because Steph and I we train a ton, but one of our main training routes was from Kitsilano, so Kit's Pool, big famous pool in Vancouver, all the way out through Vancouver, through West Vancouver, all the way out to Horseshoe Bay, and back. So 34 miles round trip. So those were our weekends. Those were our Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays sometimes, and then sometimes a trip up the mountain and back. But it's the most amazing journey, because not only got our bodies ready for it, but we always had kind of like the idea of the moment, or the idea something would strike us as we've been going along. If we were trying to figure something out, or if we just went, well, I don't know, let's table it. Maybe the answer will come somewhere. And so it would always happen whether one of us was either at the top of the hill or at the bottom of the hill, and one would have the idea. So it would be like, hey, I got an idea, and or the other would yell down and be like, all right, wait till I catch up, and we'll get it. And I think when you said it, it was like we were kind of, the light bulb went on when we realized it was kind of one of these things. It was like Michelangelo's David, that we were continually just chipping away at what was ultimately there to be chipped away at. And some people call it 80% destiny, 20% reactionary, but that's really what it was. And everybody can look at their own lives and go, I got an 80-20. I have a Michelangelo. And that's what has been the beauty of this thing, because sometimes you chip and chip and chip and chip, and it's like, it's nothing. So you walk away from it for a bit, and then you walk sideways, and you go, this big piece of thing comes off of it. There's the foot, and that's been the greatest thing, and so, for the purposes of this tour, there's still just one little bit that's still left, so we're going to save that for May 8th. I don't know what it is yet, because we haven't got there. See, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I was like,
I'm segueing.
Okay.
Huh?
All right.
Any more questions from the house? Any more?
Yeah, well, just thanks everybody so much for coming down. And again, a huge thanks to Diane, Shaskin, and Planet Organic.
Yeah, guys.